What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Maple Leafs Media. As always, I'm your guy, Jake, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, someone who spent 8 years in the NHL, Rich Peverley. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's going on with you in your life after a career in the NHL?
Uh, I moved back to Guelph after my last year in Dallas. I work for the Dallas Stars now. I've been doing it for 6 years. For the first 6 years post career, I was player development coordinator for the Dallas Stars, and now I'm recently director of player personnel for the Dallas Stars. Very excited about what we have for this upcoming season. It's supposed to be hopefully it's a really good season.
Now, what does that position entail with the Dallas Stars?
I'm still doing some development, a little amateur scouting, professional scouting, a little bit of everything now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's great to see you involved with the Dallas Stars organization after your career. I understand you have an organization, the Pevs Protects Foundation. Would you like to tell our viewers a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think after my heart incident in 2013, my wife and I and Natalie really tried to give back to the communities that helped us get through some hard times. And um, the initial focus was to raise as much money for AEDs and for AED and CPR training. We did that now unfortunately, we couldn't have an event last year because of COVID, but we've raised almost $250,000 for the community here in Guelph and raised money in Dallas as well for the American Heart Association. So, we're very proud of what we've done and hopefully keep going.
That's awesome, and it's a great cause. Hopefully, you can get some more events going and running up this year. The pandemic hopefully clears up a little bit.
For sure.
Now, Leafs Nation, anytime you talk about the Boston Bruins, it instantly goes back to 2013. 2013, Game 7. You were there. When you were down 4-1 to the Toronto Maple Leafs, was there ever a point where you had any doubt in the ability to make a comeback there?
Oh, I think so. I think everybody who played in that game on our team probably had a little bit of doubt. Maybe some didn't, but when they scored that fourth goal to make it 4-1, and I think it was only about 8 or 9 minutes left in the game, you think that's a pretty big hill to climb. But luckily our big guns stepped up at the right time. Patrice Bergeron and Lucci scored a big one. Nathan Horton. So obviously Bergeron with the two big ones, but tremendous players, best players step up at the right time, and they did that.
Yeah, I remember that game very vividly. It's ingrained in my memory. I can't get it out of my nightmares. It's been there for the past 8 years now. It's a tough memory as a Leafs fan, but it's got to be a great feeling as a Boston Bruin.
That was probably the loudest I've ever heard a building before. It was absolutely bonkers in there, and it was a fun game to be in. It's a fun game to play in. Just to be into that atmosphere, it was unbelievable. I think Leafs fans remember that they almost had us, but I think when I look back on that series, we were up 3-2, maybe 3-1, I believe, and I think we could have closed that out sooner if we had done it right. But I'll give credit to the Leafs for taking as long as it did to finish them off.
And the Bruins there, that season, you guys finished first in the Eastern Conference. So as a team that comes into the playoffs first, playing against the lowest seeded team, do you think that there's a lot of extra added pressure?
Oh, of course, there's added pressure. I don't remember being the first seed, to be honest. It's a long time ago now. But if we were at the time, I think if the Leafs were number 8, they were still a pretty good team. Had some firepower, and there's pressure. Obviously, there's pressure, but you try to relish it, and I think for the team that we had. The majority of the guys were there when we won in 2011, so we were used to pressure. It wasn't anything we hadn't dealt with before.
Yeah, you've had a lot of playoff success in your career. You've won a Stanley Cup, and I'm looking at the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. This is a Toronto Maple Leafs channel, so I have to ask a question about this. The Maple Leafs, they really struggle in the first round of the playoffs. Once they can get there, but then it seems they have difficulty making it out of that first round. So, what do you think the problem is in Toronto?
I don't think there's a problem. I think every team has, it takes time to learn how to win. You mentioned my accomplishments, but the Boston Bruins in 2010 were up 3-0 in a game seven and a 3-0 series to the Philadelphia Flyers and lost. And sometimes these moments they make you stronger and make you realize how to deal with pressure. And I'm sure the Leafs will be, if some of the best players in the NHL, I'm sure they'll be fine in the future.
So you think that this is a team that could potentially make it further in the future?
Well, only time will tell, but they definitely have the talent, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully, as a Leafs fan, I'm hopeful for that. So you, as I just mentioned, you're a member of the 2011 Stanley Cup champion Boston Bruins. I'm going to show a clip here of you raising the Stanley Cup, and then I just want to ask a question on the other side.
Sure.
Just how special does it feel to watch that clip and to know that your name is engraved on the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, it's a special feeling. I was able to have my wife there, my family there. Just you kind of when the seconds were counting down on the clock, you kind of just think of everything you've done over your career to get to that point. I'd never been drafted. Had a lot of uphill climbs in terms of putting my name in an organization and earning a chance. And those were kind of the memories that were going through my head when you finally did win. And to be part of such a special group of players, special people, it's just something that you'll never forget. And I feel very blessed to be able to, win a championship, do it with the people we did, and it's the best feeling in the world. Obviously, I have 3 kids now. My career was cut short, and they weren't able to probably remember seeing me playing. So now that I have that piece of history, it's something that they can look on and see my name there, and I think it's pretty special to them as well.
That's pretty awesome. Just nothing can take that away from you. Your name's engraved on the cup. You have a Stanley Cup ring. You'll forever be a part of hockey history. That's got to be a great feeling.
It is for sure.
And back in Game 4 of that series, you had a multi-goal game. I'm going to show the clip of these goals here.
For a couple of seconds. Oh, here's a chance for Peverley! Sure enough. Lucic nicely rags free, fed it across, guided hands of the net!
Where do these goals rank on just in your career on goals you've scored? Where do they rank?
No, I think anytime you score a goal in the Stanley Cup Finals, it's probably the most special moment you're going to have in your career. It's obviously the biggest 2 goals that I've ever scored. Every time you score in the playoffs, it's a great feeling, and I was just lucky to get a chance to play with some great players in that game, and scoring goals in the finals. Like I said, it's an amazing feeling.
And what's going through your mind just as you put the puck in the net there?
Nothing. Really, just honestly, the first one was a great pass by David Krejci, and I just tried to get 5-hole, and Luongo kind of tried to swipe at me. I thought I was going to go to the backhand, and I'm lucky it went in. The second goal, I just trying to get the back door as soon as I could, and luckily it just kind of knocked off my body and went in, and it's just a lucky goal, but they all count.
After you score a goal in an NHL game, do you have the mindset that I'm just going for another now?
No, not really. Like, I don't think you're going into a game thinking, oh, I'm gonna, you score a goal, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get another one, or I'm not gonna get another one. I think when you're playing well, your confidence just builds, and you start to feel better, and that's why you see guys score multiple goal games, and that's kind of how you feel. That's how I felt when I played in a game, and you're creating a bunch of chances. You're gonna give yourself an opportunity to score, and that's usually what happens when you're playing with confidence. You're creating chances.
Yeah, that's very important. The confidence is key, and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take as well. So it's always a good time to get a shot on goal. Obviously, some very just great accomplishments, scoring goals in the Stanley Cup Finals, hoisting the Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins. But in 2010, you went to the World Championship and you represented Team Canada in Germany. How special does it feel to, just how much of an honor is it to be able to wear the red and white maple leaf on your chest?
Well, like I said, I was never drafted and never had a chance to try out for World Juniors or any of those big international events. And I had a pretty good year that year in Atlanta, and I was lucky enough that it was the Olympic year, and probably a lot of big stars were exhausted from the year. So it opened up a few more spots for the team, and I'm lucky enough I got an opportunity to play for Canada. I've never done that, never had done that before, and it's a great feeling to be part of Team Canada. It's awesome.
And was there anything like extra special about your experience in Germany there? Was there any moment that stood out to you?
I think just you play against all these other players from other teams, and um, I never played in Europe before then, and it definitely was a bit of an eye opener in terms of playing the style. And I can see how it's hard for teams to go over there, like American or Canadian teams to go over there and have success right away, because it does take time to adjust to the size of the arena and the tactics involved. And um, I just love playing with all the guys. I got to play with some pretty big name guys that are around the NHL now, and um, it was pretty fun in terms of getting to know guys that way.
That's awesome, and I think that's the dream for most children growing up in Canada that love hockey. They want to represent their country, play on Team Canada, and that's got to be a very special feeling. Uh, for years, this has been a topic of debate, and it continues to be a topic of debate as the Olympics are coming up soon. Do you believe that NHL players should be allowed to play in IIHF tournaments such as the Olympics?
Yeah, I think so. I think anytime you want the best on best competition, it's fun to watch. And the Olympics, some of the Olympic hockey has been the best that I've ever watched. You go back to I think it was 2002 in Salt Lake and Canada winning, and there's been some great international moments, and being able to see some of the best stars in the NHL share the ice, I think that'd be great. So if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it opens up opportunities for other guys to play for their nation.
Yeah, I mean, personally, my take on it is I understand why the NHL owners or higher ups may not want their players to play in the Olympics due to injuries or other things that could happen over there in Europe or elsewhere in the Olympics. So I understand that, but as a player, you want to represent your country. You want to have the chance to do what you've dreamt to do. So I lean more towards the players. It should be their choice if they want to perform in the Olympics or not.
Yeah, I can understand your opinion for sure.
Yeah, that's my take on it. So a couple times you've mentioned that you're undrafted. What was the biggest challenge for you making it to the NHL as someone that was undrafted?
I think for people to understand is that every year NHL team has 7. In the past, it was 9 rounds to when I was playing to draft a player. So you bring those players into your system. I was lucky enough that I played in the ECHL. My first year was a lockout year in 2004, 2005, and the trickle down effect to play in the American Hockey League was extremely difficult for me because you had 9, 10 players in the NHL playing in the AHL. So I was out of a spot, but the following year, you started in the ECHL, and I was lucky enough to get an opportunity to get called up to Milwaukee. Ray Shiro, who went to St. Lawrence like I did, brought me in there. He was assistant general manager with the Nashville Predators at the time, and I'm lucky enough I got an opportunity to coach there. Claude Noel was really liked my style, and he was hard on me, but he improved me a tremendous amount, and I was lucky enough that we first year when I got to Milwaukee, we lost in the Calder Cup Finals, and we had some phenomenal players. And the one thing I give the Nashville Predators and Milwaukee and Claude and the whole organization credit for is that they gave me an opportunity to play with some great players, and they didn't just force their draft picks. Um, that year we had Pekka Rinne, Shea Weber, the list goes on of guys who played in the NHL. So I was lucky enough that next year when most of those guys graduated to the NHL, I again was given a great opportunity to play, and they could have brought in other contracted guys or draft picks, and that year I was lucky enough to play some games and get an opportunity to play.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Were you expecting to be drafted? Was that something you were thinking about a lot as the draft process was going on?
No, my first year, I went through the draft twice, and I don't think I was going to get drafted my first year. I was a freshman. No, I think I was playing junior here in Ontario, and I wasn't lighting it up. I was just, I was a good player, but I wasn't, crazy with points or anything. So then my next year, I went to St. Lawrence, and then my freshman year, I was 18 years old, which is a true freshman, and it was that was probably the biggest life change I'd ever made in my life. Moving away from home and um, playing college hockey, which is a lot different than junior hockey in terms of the guys are bigger and older. And I was 18 playing with 24, 25-year-old guys on my team. So it was a big adjustment and for me at the time. And, I don't think I should have been drafted, but I just used it as motivation anyway. So it was great.
That's good. You got to add fuel to that fire right there. Just stay motivated, stay focused on the task at hand. Was there ever a point in time where you thought maybe it's not going to work out and you thought about stepping away from the game?
No, I never thought about stepping away. My goal was to be a professional hockey player, and I was willing to go to Europe. I was willing to stay over there for years if it had to be. There was my second year in the second year pro after the lockout year. I I did think about going to Europe. You know, but luckily that year I got a chance to go up. There's to the AHL, but there's lots of leagues over in Europe that you guys can make a really good living, and that was what I was willing to do if I wasn't going to make the NHL.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You just wanted to play hockey professionally. You got there, and that's got to be a very special feeling. If you didn't play hockey professionally, what would you have done for a career? And do you think you could have maybe played any other sports professionally?
I doubt I could have played other sports professionally. I guess I'm pretty athletic, but no, I wouldn't say. But what I would have done, I don't know. I at the time I really didn't even think of. There's times when you're in university, maybe you want to be a teacher, or maybe you want to be, a real estate agent or something along those lines. But I love hockey. I love sports. I would have had to do something with sports. That's my life, and I probably would have found a way to get into some kind of organization, and I just would have kept working to try to accomplish that goal.
Yeah, that's kind of the same way I am. I'm not quite the professional hockey type of athlete, but I love sports and I want to be a sports journalist. I'm going to school for it, and I really appreciate you coming on here. I got a couple more questions for you before we head off. What has been the most challenging thing you've had to overcome in your life?
I had that heart incident in 2013 where I had to quit playing, and that was difficult to stop playing. It's difficult to give up your career, something that you work so hard for. Uh, One door closes, another one opens. I feel like even though that was such a challenge, I always wanted to stay in hockey and be in management, even when I was playing, even before I started playing professionally. I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I'm lucky enough I got my foot in the door with the Dallas Stars to be able to be in the management side of things. And I love it. I love the job. I love what I do, and I wouldn't. Even though I had to stop playing, I feel very lucky that I'm able to be in this role.
That's awesome. Just you mentioned the Dallas Stars organization. How Just how optimistic are you for the future in Dallas? You got that team just went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, an up and coming team. How optimistic are you?
Yeah, I think we got a good blend of veterans and younger rookies. Um, I think you got to have that if you want to be successful in the NHL. Unfortunately, lost Alexiak in the expansion, but gained Ryan Suter, so a tremendous player. So you know, last year was difficult for us. We had a lot of injuries. Tyler Seguin only played 2 games. Radulov only 11. So I think having everybody back at 100%, hopefully that'll put us in the right direction for next year.
I think it will. I think the Stars they're an emerging team. Last year down year, a lot of injuries. Sagan had that surgery. Goaltending, yeah, there was an injury with Ben Bishop. There's been a lot of injuries there. I think that the Stars are going to have a bounce back year next year. They were just in the Stanley Cup in the bubble, so I think they're going to come back next year strong. In your playing days or after, what was the weirdest autograph request you ever received?
Interesting question. I don't know if I've had any weird. Well, I guess maybe in the minors, there's some people that want you to sign different parts, their arms or whatever. But I never had anything too crazy. It wasn't nuts, that's for sure. I can't really think of one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a question I ask every guest I have on here. We've gotten some interesting answers for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Some weird autograph requests for sure. I'm an autograph collector myself, but I don't cross that line. I just ask for a normal, like a puck or a card.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's all I want to be signed.
Yeah.
So, did you have any superstitions before you went on the ice in your playing days?
Nothing crazy. Just the daily routine of the game. You get up and eat breakfast and morning skate and you have a pregame meal. Generally, the pregame meal was pretty standard and something that you kind of repeat. And I was superstitious in terms of tape everything, put everything on the same way, but it wasn't at a superstition. It was more at a routine. So nothing crazy. I think one thing I did try to do is change it up. If you start playing bad, you got to change up your routine, and that superstition. I guess I did involve myself in.
Yeah, I think that everyone's got their own superstitions for sure. Like, you might not think it's a superstition, but it probably is. It's routine, a bit of routine and superstition. Now, without mentioning a name, what was like the weirdest superstition you ever saw? Could you say that?
Yeah, there was a guy in Boston. I won't say his name, but yeah, he hadn't washed his socks and his jockstrap in like 12 years or something like that. It was stinky, that was for sure.
Stunk up the change room.
Yeah.
That's funny. Do you have any is there any special meanings on your Stanley Cup ring that you got with the Bruins in 2011?
Sorry, what was the question?
In 2011, you got the Stanley Cup ring with the Boston Bruins.
Yep.
Is there any special meanings on the ring?
No, there wasn't anything. It just had your name and the year. Inside the ring had the series and how we won the series. If it was 4-3 or 4-0 or whatever. And nope, there wasn't anything like integral. It was pretty standard. It was good.
Awesome. That's pretty awesome, and that's got to be something that you value for sure.
Yep, for sure.
What's the most sentimental value? What is the most valued piece of just anything, piece of memorabilia that you have from your career?
Yeah, it'd be my ring for sure. They give you a little Stanley Cup when you win a conference championship or Stanley Cup, and lucky that we won 2 Eastern Conference championships. So have those trophies and the Stanley Cup, obviously the biggest one. So the ring is the biggest thing for sure. You're not going to beat that, I don't think.
How big is that Stanley Cup model? Is it like a?
Yeah, it's not too big. It's probably a tenth the size.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's gotta be cool to have. That's great. Stanley Cup champion Rich Peverley joining the show here today. been on here for the past 25 minutes. I really appreciate you coming on here today. Thank you for doing this, Rich. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
And until next time, everyone, thank you for watching Maple Leafs Media. See you next time.